Well, good morning to all my friends and family, and welcome to this episode of Jim's 5am Club. What a magical moment. What a magical time of day. We've got first light just starting to appear on the horizon. The magnificent Opera House is surrounded by a beautiful halo of gentle crimson, and it's a beautiful start to this Tuesday. Of course it's cold, it's winter, but it's not too bad. I prefer to have winter in Australia than winter in any other country, to tell you the truth, but it's simply a magnificent start to the day and a great opportunity for us to come together, to learn something new, to share some life hacks, and to watch this beautiful monument come to life and surrounded by a magnificent sunrise, which will be happening over the next hour or so. So what I want to do today, in the tradition of Jim's 5am Club, is I want to take you through yet another book summary. I love getting through my book summaries, and I hope that plenty of people can get to listen to them and join me on this journey to discovery, where we can take OPE, other people's experiences, and learn from them, be able to see their slithers of reality and compare and contrast those slithers of reality to our slithers of reality, and come to a common understanding and basically expand and broaden our perspectives so that we can see the world and create a worldview that is balanced, productive, and empowering. So today's book summary is a beauty. The book is entitled Relentless Solution Focus, by dual authorship of Jason Elk and Ellen Reed. So these two authors have come together to help us understand the importance of being relentless and being solution focused, as of course compared to the opposite, in terms of being meek and problem focused. So the authors kick off the book with an observation and a call to action, where they basically tell us that focusing on a problem just creates more problems. So let me just repeat that, because that's a really, really profound point. That if you're problem focused, if you're a mismatcher, then focusing on problems is just going to surround you and create a world for you which is full of problems. Not saying that problems are bad, but if you focus too much on the problem, then you're wasting a lot of energy that could have been used to help you focus on the answer or the solution to that problem. Because when it's all said and done, we are surrounded by lots and lots of problems. And the last thing you want to be is a firefighter, fighting off your problems, putting out your challenges, your issues, and also putting out everybody else's problems as well. So the author here goes on to say that confidence is the number one variable affecting a person's performance, because it improves our ability to manage and to work with people, to identify opportunities and solutions. And what the author here is saying is that sometimes what we need to do is we need to ban people from the problem matrix, because all they're going to do is just focus on more and more problems. So for every solution, they're going to create a problem. So what you need to do is to have a team surround you, a team that is solutions focused. It's important to have, of course, the devil's advocate, somebody who can poke holes into solutions and always identify, the back end of it or the bad end of it. But you need more people to be solutions focused than problems focused in order to be able to achieve a greater outcome. So what can we learn here? So we need to consider a change in attitude, because as we said, each coin has a head and a tail, and they're part of the same coin, but each problem has a solution, and it's also part of the same coin. But if you're focusing too much on the problems, then you're never going to have enough time, energy, and ability to work on the solutions. So the author goes on to say here is that we need to be able to trust our decision-making capabilities and our solution-creating capabilities as well. And we need to change. We need a dramatic change in attitude to be, solutions-focused as opposed to problems-focused. So the author goes on to talk about the importance of being solutions-focused, where they say that focus on the solutions rather than the problems, because the great successes in our lives, the great business breakthroughs, are based and built on small incremental victories. So when a person learns to emphasize improvement over perfection, progress accelerates dramatically and exponentially. So it's a key point there that the author is making, that we should be focused. We should spend more of our energy focusing on progress rather than perfection, because by focusing on small incremental progressive steps, you're moving slowly but steadily, just like that ferry is, towards your goal. And as you get closer, you're approaching the solution at a exponential rate. So the closer you get, the faster you get towards achieving your outcome and getting to your solution. So the author also reminds us, and we should never turn our backs on this or sweep it under the carpet, that we as humans are biologically hardwired to focus on problems or the negative things that are happening in the world and are happening in our lives. And for that reason, media, social media, we're surrounded by lots of people who continue to remind us of the problems, of the negative things, but we don't have as many people focusing on the root causes and on the potential solutions, which is a bit of a disappointment. But the author also reminds us that although we're hardwired for problems and for challenges, the reality is that we live in a world today which is much safer than what it's ever been at any point in our history. People are much wealthier. There are far more things available for all people to share in. If you sit and think about it, the average person in Australia, even those on welfare, have the opportunity to live a far better life than what the kings of old would have had been able to enjoy, because we have many more choices these days that are provided, and through the internet, through social media, through the welfare state, there are many opportunities for everybody to partake, to contribute, and to be connected to society and to people if they wish to. So we are no longer, as the author here says, we are no longer chased by a saber-toothed tiger, and we are relatively safe, and we don't need to be on the constant lookout for real dangers. A lot of the dangers that we are on the lookout for, a lot of the dangers that impact our lives, are dangers which are imagined, irrational, and not very real. So the author goes on to say here, or the authors go on to say, that problem-centered focus is actually bad for your health, because what it does is that if you're on the lookout for problems all the time, and if you're anxious and agitated and worried, what happens is that this state of being releases many chemicals into your body. It releases a chemical soup of adrenaline, cortisol, and a number of stress hormones that lead to underperformance and can damage our health and damage our relationships, damage the way we see the world, our worldview, and lead us to further problems because living with fear, uncertainty and doubt, being overwhelmed and led by irrational fears, as we said, creates a chemical soup in our body, which then doesn't allow us to find solutions, because what it does is it knocks us back. It reverts us to our reptilian state, our primitive state, where we are in fight, flight, or freeze mode, which means that we're so scared and so shocked that our bodily functions, our mental functions, our ability to think rationally shut down, and we just become reactive like an animal as opposed to responsive. We're unable to think clearly and be able to see the first, second and third level consequences of our actions, and we tend to overrate. We tend to overthink things and see the worst in things, and live in terror, live in suspended terror, which, as we said, causes health issues to us, but we also, because we interface with other people, because we are, parents, grandparents, work peers, our problems, our fears, our uncertainties, our doubts cause infection to other people, disturb other people, and impact their health by once again creating a chemical soup in their body, which they may not realise, they may not be able to control, but it's impacting them in a negative way. So we need to understand that our problems end up becoming other people's problems, and other people's problems end up becoming our problems if we're not careful. So what we need to do is to invest more time in terms of solving problems and solving the root cause of problems, rather than just thinking up problems all the time and just searching the environment for problems, because as we said, we're going to be in a problem-focused state all the time, and it'll make you sick. And it'll not only make you sick, it'll make the people around you, the people that you touch, sick as well. So we need to release ourselves from the shackles of problem focus to overcome these limitations. So there's a call to action here that you can sort it out, you can fix it, but you need to proactively do it and you need to purposefully work towards being solutions focused and to spend less time looking for problems. Or maybe what I should be saying is you should be looking for real problems as opposed to the BS imagined problems. So the author here talks about the importance of simply looking for solutions and options to problems, and to be an option thinker. You know, there's more than one solution for every problem. And sometimes, as we said before, the majority of those problems, the majority of those fears, uncertainty and doubts are imagined, are not very real. In fact, 95% or more, the absolute vast majority of all of those things that trouble people are not real at all. And if you sit and think rationally and step through it, or if you've got a partner, a parent, or a friend who can allow you to think about things more rationally, then you'll see and you'll understand that the things that are imprisoning you are not worth having that authority over you, because they're not real. So as the authors here say, become an option thinker. There's always options 1, 2 and 3. There's more than one way to skin a cat. There's many solutions to every problem. And it all depends on your frame of reference. It depends on your slithers of reality. It depends on your worldview in terms of how you solve these problems. Because as we say, and as we often say, we've all lived a different past. We are all going to live a different present. I am here, you are there, and we're all going to live a different future. Even if you were right here where I am standing, you could be focusing there, and I could be focusing here, and we're going to have a very different present experience. So what we're saying here is that, we can live our lives by and create a worldview by our own experiences, but that is very limiting. What we are encouraged to do by these authors, and by many authors, is to expand our perspective, expand our worldview through OPE, other people's experiences, which come in the form of books, come in the form of documentaries, come in the form of biographies, where you can live another person's life for the moment and learn from their experiences. Not all lessons that you learn from other people are useful, but there are many people out there who have some life hacks to share that can change your life, can improve your outcome, can improve your station in life. So it's up to each and every one of us to try and identify and incorporate these learnings into our inventory of skills, and to do it on a daily basis. Every morning I get up and I usually come here to the International Passenger Terminal at between 5 and 6 in the morning to do my 5 a.m. club. And as you can see, and as you can probably notice over time, that every single day it's a different view, it's a different outcome, and it's a different message of empowerment. Because what I try and do is I try and highlight and showcase the beauty of this world that we live in, and overlay it with messages of empowerment. So we've got the sunrise happening. It'll be coming up over the next maybe half an hour. I'll have to head off and go to work, and I'll finish off this book summary now. So we talked about being option thinkers, and the authors go on to talk about a thing called expectancy theory. And expectancy theory basically and simply says what we focus on expands and compounds. So if you're a person who focuses on solutions rather than problems, then the solutions in your world will expand manifold. If you're a person who's a mismatcher and all they do is focus on problems, then you're going to be surrounded and overwhelmed by a tsunami of problems. Because people who focus on problems all the time, people who are mismatchers, who just try and find the wrong in everything, always blow things out of proportion and cannot see things in clear perspective. And they always see, they always live, they always think of the worst case scenarios. But to get around this, what we need to do is to be able to chunk down a problem, break it down into its little pieces, and build incremental steps to find solutions. And to understand that the good is the enemy of the great. If you try and be too good, then you'll never be great. But you need to break things down, and you need to work towards solutions, and to make sure that you don't get sucked into the vortex of other people's problems and being associated and hanging out with people who all they see are problems. Be selective with the circle of people that you hang out with. Be selective with who you share your dreams and challenges with. Because at the end of the day, the half dozen people that you hang out with, the half dozen people that you look up to, will end up being the average of who you become. So let's finish off this book summary. And as we said before, progress is more important than perfection, and perfection is not real. Because we live in a dramatically changing world, if you try and be perfect, then that perfection will wire you for pain, because the world is changing and we need to change with the world as well, else we fall behind and you become irrelevant, redundant and isolated. So once again, another key message from this author is to keep on growing, keep on developing, and keep on encouraging those around you to grow and develop as well. And we all grow and develop at different paces and at different phases. We're all at different phases of our lives. So we need to be patient with those around us, but to also be mindful that we shouldn't be creating problems in their lives, but allowing them to solve their problems, to guide them where possible. But the best teacher in life is the problem. So as we say, God's gifts are wrapped in problems. God's gifts are wrapped in struggles. And we need to embrace and welcome these problems. But as we said before, to spend more time on looking for solutions and less time creating problems in our lives and in the lives of others around us. So thank you very much for joining me on this episode of Jim's 5am Club. I'm heading off to work now. I look forward to coming to you again from a different place, from a different location, but with a different message of empowerment. Take care, enjoy this wonderful Tuesday, and make the most of it. And once again, try where possible to be an option thinker and to understand that most of the problems that you have, most of the problems the people around you have, are imagined problems. They are not real. So don't get caught up, don't make yourself sick, don't make them sick by living in the problem soup, but try and look for solutions, take action, take bold action, and make this day the best, the very best day of your life. Take care and bye for now.